The Disruptor is going to be the new meta weapon. All the top players will be using them in their hangars. Watch to find out why. And if you do enjoy the video, consider liking and subscribing. I'd appreciate it a ton. So the Disruptor is the new legendary missile weapon that's came out. So far there's only a Disruptor 6, but I'm sure they're going to release a Disruptor 8 and Disruptor 12 in the future. The Disruptors have really unique mechanics. They have a splash damage radius just like the Dis launchers. You can splash the shots off the ground or wall behind them to get back damage on them. But what's unique about them is that they also have a path damage radius. This means that they have a radius even when they're traveling. With the Dis launchers, you need to hit the ground or a wall for the splash to work, but with the Disruptors, it works all the time. So it's really easy to hit shots with the Disruptor. Even if you miss the enemy, they'll get hit by the shot as long as they're close to it. The Disruptor has a radius of 7 meters. This means that if you're within 7 meters of the shot from any side, you'll get hit by it no matter what. And with the legendary radius implant, the radius becomes 9.1 meters. So the Disruptor has a bigger radius than the missile racks and the voltaic RPGs, but has a smaller radius than the Dis launchers. The radius isn't as good as the Dis launchers, but it's still pretty good. But unlike the Dis launchers, the weapon only has one shot in its magazine. This means that the weapon will rely on wall peeking a lot. You shoot the enemy, take cover while you're reloading, and shoot the enemy again. The weapon has a reload of 5.5 seconds, and this becomes 3.9 seconds with the legendary reload implant. This is a pretty fast reload, and it's slightly faster than the EM rifles. This means that you can spam shots at the enemy, and you're not punished too much if you miss. The weapon has a max range of 91 meters. There's no damage falloff, so it deals the same amount of damage regardless of how far you are from the enemy. But you want to be close to the enemy when you use them since they have a super slow projectile speed. They have one of the slowest projectile speeds in the game. It has a projectile speed of 25, which is slightly faster than the Helix racks. And the Helix racks aren't even a traditional weapon. Since the projectile speed is so slow, you can reactively dodge the shots with a mech like killshot or surge. Or if the shot is from far enough, you can dodge the shot by running away from it. So with this weapon, you want to be close to the enemy so they don't have much time to dodge it. The weapon also has a shot delay just like with the EMs. It has a shot delay of 0.5 seconds while the EMs have a shot delay of 0.7 seconds. But I couldn't really notice the shot delay much, so I don't think it's much of a weakness. The Disruptors can also pierce through shields. They are the first weapon in the game to pierce through shields. If you shoot at a mech with a shield, you'll pierce 10% of your damage through the shield. But this damage usually isn't much. It's usually only a few thousand damage, so it's not a game-breaking feature. The weapon can also go through enemies if you kill them. If you shoot at an enemy and you don't kill them, the weapon doesn't go through them. But if you shoot at them and you do kill them, the weapon goes straight through them. This means that you can get multiple kills with one shot, and it makes it a good bot killing weapon. But the most unique part of the weapon is how it deals damage. The weapon deals around 16,000 damage per shot with the pilot, and this becomes 31,000 damage with 2 shots. So this isn't very great damage. It's worse compared to all the other 6 energy weapons, but it can hit enemies multiple times with one shot. If you shoot an enemy with the Disruptors, it'll deal damage to them 2 times. This means that instead of dealing 31,000 damage with both shots, it'll deal 62,000 damage with both shots. This is much better damage, and you can make the Disruptors deal even more damage. If you miss the enemy and hit them with your path radius, you can deal side damage to them. Side damage is 1.5 times more than front damage, so you can deal 1.5 times more damage to them. So instead of dealing 62,000 damage with both shots, you'll deal 94,000 damage with both shots. And you can make this damage even more with back damage. If you miss them and shoot the wall of the ground behind them, you can deal back damage to them just like with the Dis launchers. But when you do this, you'll not only get a tick of back damage, but you'll get a tick of side damage as well. This is because when the projectile passes the enemy, you hit them from the side as well. This means that you get 1 tick of damage, which is 47,000 damage, and 1 tick of damage that's 62,000 damage. So by doing this, you can deal 110,000 damage to the enemy with both shots. But what's really interesting is that the weapon can deal more damage on mechs with big hitboxes. The Disruptors deal a tick of damage every 0.3 seconds. This means that there's a 0.3 second cooldown before they can deal damage again. So on most mechs, this means that you can deal 2 ticks of damage on them with 1 shot. This is because as it passes the mech, it only has time to deal 2 ticks of damage. But on mechs with big hitboxes, you can deal 3 ticks of damage. If you just barely miss a mech with a big hitbox, then you'll deal 3 ticks of damage. This means that instead of dealing 31,000 damage, you'll deal 94,000 damage. And when you factor in side damage, you'll deal 141,000 damage. So this is really good damage for a 6 energy weapon. It's even comparable to the EM Rifle 6, but this only works on certain mechs with big hitboxes. The mechs I've found it works on so far are Bastion, Brickhouse, Gatecrasher, Juggernaut, and Surge. There might be more mechs that works on so far, I'll have to test it out. But the mechs that can be dealt 3 ticks of damage get completely wrecked by the Disruptors. These mechs like Surge, Bastion, and Gatecrasher will be weaker once the Disruptor becomes meta. I don't think the Disruptor is going to be meta now, but it'll definitely be meta in the future. The Disruptor might be good for a 6 energy weapon, but it's not good enough to compete with all the other weapons end game. But when the Disruptor 12 comes out, it's definitely going to be a meta weapon. I think all the top players will be using them in their hangar. The Disruptor 12 will definitely be an S tier weapon. I don't think it's going to be better than the EM rifles and the disc launchers, but it's definitely going to be the 3rd or 4th best weapon in the game. I don't think it's going to be better than the disc launchers. The disc launchers have a bigger radius and a bigger mag, but they're going to be a way for players to get a 3rd splash build in their hangars. Right now you can only have 2 splash builds in your hangar. Using disc launchers on 324 energy mechs isn't really a good idea, and the missile racks and the voltaic RPGs aren't a very great splash weapon, but the Disruptors are going to be perfect for that 3rd splash build. I think the meta hangar in the future will be 2 sniper builds, 2 disc launcher builds, and 1 Disruptor build. I think putting the Disruptors on a mech like Surge or Eclipse is the best idea. They can both get close to the enemy easily so they can splash them with the Disruptors. Surge and Eclipse discs are already good meta builds, and you'll use Surge and Eclipse Disruptors in a similar way. And if you use your Disruptors on Surge and Eclipse, you can use your disc launchers on both Panther and Bastion, which are super strong builds. So I don't think the Disruptor 6 is going to be a meta weapon. I wouldn't recommend investing in it, but when the Disruptor 12 comes out, I think it's definitely going to be a meta weapon. It's going to be like the disc launchers where it has a high skill cap. You can deal a decent amount of damage if you can hit them from the front, but you can deal broken amounts of damage if you hit them from the side or back. I'm estimating that with the Disruptor 12, if you do this and deal back damage to them, you'll deal 220,000 damage. And on mechs with big hitboxes, if you get side damage on them and get 3 ticks of damage, you'll deal around 288,000 damage. That's enough to one-shot Surge. So I'm in love with the Disruptor's mechanics, and I can't wait till the Disruptor 12 comes out. Anyways, if you guys enjoyed the video, like and subscribe, and see you guys.